In today's world, education is at its most challenging, with schools across the country closed indefinitely, while the suicide rates amongst our youth are skyrocketing. Actor Brian Hooks saw an opportunity to create a unique way for students to learn the ins and outs of Hollywood's filmmaking industry by creating an online digital film school. Brian has since invited several of his talented celebrity friends to speak to the kids directly, and the results have been nothing short of phenomenal.
Never become discouraged.
Like, what would you tell your teenage self? I would definitely tell myself to enjoy the journey.
The virtual film school taps directly into the minds of the students, nurturing them creatively while helping them to discover their passions for all aspects of filmmaking.
I'm an improver too. I'm on the Wildcat improv team at my school.
And what's your name?
Samira.
Hi, Samira. I'm Chris.
Hi.
Brian Hooks is empowering each student by teaching them the basics of creating a film, from the producing, filming, and editing, all while helping them to understand how possible it is to become a successful professional from virtually anywhere in the world.
I either want to be an editor or I want to be the director of photography.
I want to do editing, but also I'm looking forward to do makeup and cosmetics.
What I want to be or want to do is direct films and stuff. Maybe become an actor myself.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Anthony, nice to meet you. Thanks for coming today.
First off, Brian, Darren is an old ass student. Hold on, man. You told me these are kids we were dealing with today. Darren looked like he got grandkids that are as old as these kids that we're talking to right now. Man, what the hell is going on? You didn't tell me I was talking to your uncle and your granddaddy. You said talk to the kids, man.
All right, so first, thanks for taking the time, Mr. Hooks. I've been, watching you since Eve, since Three Strikes, and I mean, you remind me of a good time in movies, like before we got into this next, what it feels like is a renaissance. And I guess that's my first question as an actor. I know that you spoke in another interview about how the checks kept coming with the Eve show, and I wonder like now, how does that change with this age of streaming as an actor? Like when you look at residuals and you look at these new streaming formats where it's not as much syndication everywhere, all that other stuff is just on a platform. How does the business of that change for you as an actor?
It changed drastically. I think the thing is everyone was sort of scrambling, even the unions, the Screen Actors Guild union are like, okay, how do we monetize? They showing stuff that don't have nothing to do with us. How do we make it about us? And it has changed with TV, things with TV, and it's just, this is what it is now. You know what I mean? The world evolves in every way, shape, or form, and entertainment, acting, filmmaking is no different. It's the same thing with, when we went from blockbusters to Netflix. And so you have to sort of evolve with the times. And I think when it first stopped and all this streaming thing, people in my class, so to speak, was trying to figure out how to get into that and do the sketches, and you know what I mean? But that's not our thing. You know what I'm saying? That's that next generation's thing. And so I sort of stick to what I know. And what's been great for me is my independent filmmaking background. And so something that, I did because it was who I was in creating my films is put me in an amazing position to where I can sustain myself continuously by making films. And there's so many different platforms now, these streaming platforms that need content. And, I'm a content creator in the filmmaking space. So I've been able to transition and evolve and continue, creating a foundation for myself, below the radar, slow and steady. So it's been an adjustment, but it's been okay for me because I'm a filmmaker and I know how to make independent films, opposed to just an actor who's just trying, waiting for someone to pick them or tap them or call on them. And that's a tough position to be in, because they're tapping some of these, these internet, whatever folks to do what normally would be an actor's job. But again, I'm still, creating the content on my own. So definitely a change, but I've been able to sustain it.
Well, I know, I want to get to the talking about the production that you've done during the pandemic, but the pandemic has changed the industry in many ways with the box office being closed. Well, streaming was already changing the type of content that we would
Right.
see, and having these long form movies as such that turns into series and 10-hour movies instead of one offs. Is it time for creators that might have wrote a script in the 80s or 90s or whatever to kind of like dust those things off and kind of like try to resubmit in this era? Because it seems like there's a lot of deals happening and a lot of content that used to get like a no back in the day might be like something that's working today. What do you say about that?
I think definitely, and the thing with content, and everything's subjective. So, and that's the thing with us. You're coming up with something that let's assume that it's great, and then you take it to 1, 2, 3 people who you feel are in a position of power or know-how, and they, for whatever reason, don't connect with it and don't like it, and then you slump your shoulders and you put it away. But oftentimes that work that you did is actually dope, you know what I mean? And it's actually good. And for whatever reason, those 1 or 2 studio heads or whomever they may have been, it didn't resonate or connect with them, but not because it wasn't good, they just didn't get it. So to your point, absolutely, they should dust that stuff off. They never should have put it in a place to where it could collect dust. They should have continued looking for different avenues to figure out where it can hit. So like for me, for instance, me and my buddy, our first independent film we made, we did it for 13 grand, and it was called Q, the movie. And when we finished Q, it was absolutely horrible. It was a bad movie, but it was funny. And it was coming on the heels of Fat Beach that did amazing numbers on DVD. So that $13,000 film went on to make $800,000. And we have found a little niche to where we can exist and control our own destinies. And so the thing with that is not that we had all the answers or we had it figured it out or we waited to the ideal situation to where everybody said the script was great and the film was great. We didn't make a great movie, but we took a chance on ourselves. We stepped out, and that $13,000 film turned an $800,000 profit and created a space for us to where we can exist. So my point is, absolutely dust those scripts off. You never should have put them in a place to where they can collect dust. And you have to, exhaust every avenue when you're creating content. And even then, if nobody gets on board, figure out a way to get it done yourself, because you have to be taking shots, or else, you know what I mean? How will we ever know?
I also found some interesting, news about 10 days ago when they announced the Oscar nominations. And like for the first time, we got a Best Picture. I mean, I know we had, Mike Jackson and John Legend, who were part of La La Land and some other stuff. But there was still a lot of white producers that, was also involved. But now with Judas and the Black Messiah, we have, Shaka King, we have Ryan Coogler, we have Charles King, no relation. That's all going to be, hopefully, accepting that award for Best Picture this year. How does that change the industry to have, Black EPs and Ps like, above the line, starting to get that recognition, and how can we get more people in those positions to not only be, the directors or be, have these Black content that's diverse and showing African American talent, but have people that's, above the line, making these decisions. How do you think we could do that as a industry veteran?
Yeah, I think it's amazing. I think it's, that these guys are being recognized and these films are being recognized, and it's absolutely needed. And it's a part of that wave that we're on right now. And it's from years and years of just, knocking on the doors, kicking on the door, hitting on the door. that they're finally, the noise has gotten so loud that they've had to readjust and say, okay, what we really doing? You know what I mean? And so even whether they wanted to or not, they didn't have a choice. And so, like you say, slowly but surely, we're starting to see more and more and more. And it's just an amazing time. Now, yeah, we have a lot of work to do, but what is happening right now is amazing for us. And what should we be doing? And how do I feel about it? It's amazing. And we got to continue doing just this, because every time they get recognized and every time that film is nominated, or this guy is nominated, or this woman is nominated, it forces them to open up their minds more, open up the door more, and allows for other filmmakers, be it veterans or someone up and coming and new, to sort of occupy that space. You know what I mean? And they can no longer, act like there's not an audience for these films. They're beginning to understand that, yeah, you know what I mean? We want to see Booty Call, but we also want to see Ray. You know what I mean? So those are two opposite, ends of the spectrum. And within that, you have a whole audience. And, filmmaking and the industry and the studios need to reflect real life, Black, brown, yellow, green, whatever you are. And I think with this push, and every time we're recognized on this scale, I think it pushes us forward slowly but surely. So I'm loving what I'm seeing. It's progress, and I think we just got to keep on pushing. And again, being nominated and winning those things, it creates awareness and a push and a necessity for more content just like it.
Yeah. Well, we've all been dealing with this pandemic, and I've had my school-age kids doing Zoom classes, which was, really odd to get used to. But in the midst of that, you was able to benefit off of this little era and create like a sort of film school, a film training program that I was told about. Something that's real admirable and something I would love to participate in if I could be a part of that in any way. But I want you to tell me about that and like what kind of people y'all finding to participate in this, and what skills are you able to teach them, and who are some of the people that you've got to participate to help participate in the program with you?
Well, it's the company and is Left the Bang Entertainment, and the bang in our names is represents that action moment in a child's life where they pick up a gun, commit a violent act, anything that puts them on the wrong side of the law. And we want to get them before the bang, keep them left the bang, and provide them with opportunities, as they're sometimes born into situations to where they're forced to choose between bad and worse. We want to be that other option. And so that's what our mission was, to reach out and intercept these youth and allow them to be a part of the Hollywood magic. And so we were chucking along, and I was out visiting schools and youth centers, and then the pandemic hit, and it sort of slowed everything down. And so the initial thing, like everyone, was to, we'll stop and wait. But, as time went on and I'm watching the TV and I'm hearing about things, I'm like, you know what, these kids in these inner cities that's who we're targeting, they don't have the liberty of waiting till 2021. You know what I mean? The gangs are still recruiting them. And as far as COVID, they have so many other obstacles that they have to navigate and climb over and climb under just to get to the surface to where they can even worry about a COVID. You know what I mean? They have many other worries. Yeah. And so I had particularly heard about another youth suicide due to the pandemic and the lockdown. And I said, you know what? I got to take action and I have to do something. So I scrambled to figure out how I can keep these kids engaged until we could be in person. And that led to the birth of the online film school. And so I created this space to where everything that we were talking about doing on set, I allowed them to begin to learn the basics of filmmaking, and a program that teaches them where they'll be able to make a film without anyone's permission. So on to scale it down on a level to where it doesn't have to be contingent upon a studio or executive saying you could do this, but here's the tools for you to get to A to B and make a film that you can monetize off of and have in some of these festivals. And so the program, they were absolutely loving it. And then the mentorship side, which is a very important piece to Left to Bang Entertainment and this film school, was amazing as well. And I called some of my, celebrity friends to pop in on them. And so they absolutely love that, man. Every kid on there watched Blackish. So, you know what I mean? On our first session, Anthony Anderson pops in and he laughs with them and left them with jewels. One of the girls was super shook. She was in the improv class out of, Central California in Fresno. And, JB Smooth from, popped in, and improv is the whole show on Curb Your Enthusiasm. One of the other kids' background was The Office. And so Craig Robinson from, The Office and all those films jumped in. Tabitha Brown came through, Vivica Fox, Meg DeLoach, who was the creator of Eve and also Family Reunion on Netflix right now. So they were just shook because they were meeting all these cool people and learning information that they wanted, you know what I mean? And so I think the blessing in that is, because we had a few kids from the Fresno Unified, and the director was like, we have never seen this level of engagement from the kids since we started remote learning. And they were just sort of blown away. And that for me in itself makes it worth my time and energy and lets me know I'm moving in the right direction, because that's what I wanted to get. I wanted to engage them and keep them entertained and keep them hopeful and aspiring, you know what I mean, to what's next, you know what I mean, opposed to just, feeling like they're limited. And so the film school has been so amazing. And the idea that we didn't do it in person has been a blessing, because it allowed us to have kids from Texas, kids from Chicago, kids from Jersey, because all you have to do is get online and just be a part of this crew group and mentorship and, meet cool people who you've seen on TV, man. So the film school has been a blessing, and we're going to continue to grow it. And any youth, I mean, we target inner city youth and low income youth, high school age, that wants to be a part of the program. We welcome them.
Well, tell the viewers like how they could catch up and get more information and be a part of that. I'll make sure to put the graphic on the bottom of the screen, but go ahead and just tell them what's the process of trying to be a part of this.
Well, the process is if they can message us on Left to Bang Entertainment on Facebook, Instagram, as well as lefttobangentertainment.com. They can leave us a message and just let us know that you have a child that wants to be, or a cousin, or if you want to refer someone who wants to be part of the program. And it's as simple as that. It costs them no money. All they have to do is show up, with a phone or computer and internet, and we want to have them, you know what I mean? And so again, the fact that it's online allows us to a kid can be anywhere in the US, anywhere in the world, and be a part of it. So any of our social medias, just shoot us a message on Facebook or Instagram, Left to Bang Entertainment, and we want to see that youth. We want them with us.
Were you smart enough to make a writer in their contract that if they make a movie, they gotta attach you as talent?
Yeah. Hey, I told them, I say, look here, I'm bringing all these people. When y'all make y'all big film, hey, I want my 10% and I want to roll. Absolutely, absolutely. That's the first thing I made them sign off on. That's funny because the reality is, you and I, me and you will be sitting somewhere, man, and you be like, yo, ain't that one of the kids that they're like, yeah, you know what I mean? So yeah, you're right. You absolutely right.
Well, this is all you've been doing during the pandemic. I mean, first, I'm glad to see you in good health. I know we lost so many people around the world to this thing, and I'm glad to see all of us that's able to be here and productive. But you also had time to make a film, to work on a film. Yeah. Tell us about the film you have in production or coming out.
Yeah, the film is Adam and Eve, and it's a love story, a romantic comedy. I'm sorry, not a romantic comedy. It's a drama, and you know, I've been having to grill that through folks' heads because everybody's used to seeing me in the comedy, and this is different. You know, it's a straight drama love story about these two people who fall in love, but they both have questionable past, and so their skeletons start to creep up, and it sort of prevents them from moving forward and living happily ever after. And I don't know if you remember the movies Jason's Lyric, but it has that same feel and tone to it. And so I'm excited about it, and I'm sure, you know what I mean, the audience is gonna enjoy it, and it's a cool take on a love story that I think is a little different than what you're used to seeing. So I'm excited about it.
My favorite line from Jason's Lyric is like, I just want to sell TVs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love it. That is
Yeah.
Lisa Nicole Carson talk about, I
Yeah.
want to like rub these feet.
Yeah,
I love Jason's Lyric.
yeah, that's why I put that on my social media all the time. Every time I see that, and I've seen it a million times, I laugh like I've seen it the first time. Yeah.
So also tell the audience like what was your spark? What made you go left for Bang, you know, in your career and start, you know, and start acting in comedy and everything else? Like, how did you break into the industry necessarily? What was your process?
I was basically born and raised in Bakersfield. For there, it's limited. You know, it's not much you could do in the way of entertainment. So my entertaining was limited to, you know, talent shows at the school and showing out in church. Get a whooping when I get home. That was the extent of entertainment there. But once I graduated and moved down to Los Angeles, and started attending CSUN, Cal State University of Northridge, and I was majoring in math to be a teacher. And I found myself in the epicenter, you know, Los Angeles, of entertainment. So I slowly but surely started to get my feet wet. And, you know, I started with taking a class, you know, an acting class on top of my math classes in college. And then that led to me taking some outside classes. And then that led to me submitting myself through this publication called Dramalog, which is now Backstage, which you can Google and see online. And they list independent productions, you know, short films, you know, student films. And so there was this little movie, Fat Beach, in there. And so I submitted myself. I got called in for the audition. And then 6 or 7 auditions later, I got the role. And so that was me and Jermaine Huggy Hopkins from Juice and Lean on Me. And the director was Doug Ellen, who went on to create, you know, his show Entourage. And so that was my first role, man. And, you know, I banged that out, knocked that out. We made a, you know, funny, crazy movie that did okay at the box office, but on DVD, it blew people away. It just never stopped going. And so that sort of set the foundation for me to continue on. And then from there was High School High, and then you know, a number of other things, and then the independent films. But that was the start, man. I was down here going to college and figured, you know, let me try to get my feet wet outside. And once I got the role Fat Beach, I said, you know what, I'll keep doing this until they don't let me do it anymore. And, you know, here we are decades later. I've still been able to sustain myself.
Well, we all love that, you know, those chapters of your career, and we you know, really excited about this chapter, especially all the giving back, and you could tell it's heartfelt and what you want to do. So I'm cheering for you, and like I said, if you could, you know, input some media training, media skills into this program, I definitely would want to join in and give back also. So
I would
doing
love
what you
that.
do, man. We'll keep on supporting, man, and big fans. And we want to talk to you anytime when the film come out, and we could get some clips and the trailers and all that stuff. I want to do a follow-up interview on this what you call the love dramas. It's like not a rom-com. I forget the little titles for it.
Yeah, this is straight drama. No, I would appreciate that, man, because like I say, I always have you know, folks who are experts in their fields like yourself, you know, talk to the youth. You could come on and, you know, tell them about your journey. That would be a blessing, man. And we'll let you know about Adam and Eve, and could keep you up on the growth of Left to Bang. You know, this next chapter, what we're doing is transitioning from the film school. And I launched a Kickstarter to support a project, a film that they'll be able to do pre-production, production, post-production, get their names on it, and then for all their great work, see their names on the credit and be able to watch the film on Netflix or some other major platform. So that Kickstarter just launched yesterday, and trying to see that through to a success for these kids, and you know, they'll be able to make their first film, man. So it's exciting things happening, man, and I appreciate you having me on your platform and sharing this mission with everyone, man.
All right, brother. Till next time. Appreciate the time, brother.